All right, welcome everyone. It is a little past 6 here, 6:08 on the East Coast, 5:08 or 5:08 if I'm saying it politically correct on the left coast. Thank you all for tuning in here to Beav's World. Martinez Company was off this morning, so of course I joined Beav Wednesday nights, Monday nights, 6 usually to 7:30. Tonight we're going 6 to 7 just because there's a lot of stuff going on here. But nonetheless, Beav is joining me. First of all, I got to say, do we have a new set design? It's so much different and it looks a lot more colorful. Did something change?
Well, what happened was old man Beav here, his back went out, so I'm changing my seat. So I'm in my recliner instead of my sofa. My back has been going out on me for the last couple of weeks, and it's changing. But yeah, so the famous Bobby Orr goal, which he personalized for me,
Right.
called me his friend, and there's a couple other things back there. A lot of Tommy stuff. There's if you doubt yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you type stuff. Some
Yeah.
Patriot stuff, Kathy and me, Eric Bakich, JJ McCarthy, a lot of good stuff. This is my side wall behind my chair, and like if you understand, my living room over here where I'm pointing. There you go. Where I normally am sitting is in the corner by the window,
Right.
uh, and this is the uh, to the in front of the chair near the table and everything. So I need if you want to be an interior decorator, call me. I got a Sherry Culver's my friend in Rhode Island who I went grew up with. She does this stuff, but yeah, I'll move tonight because my back's been going out
Yeah.
on me. I'm like one of the USA hockey players, walking wounded angel.
Oh, geez. Is it worse in the cold or in the warmth?
Um, for me, I think it's inactivity when I don't move around.
Okay.
And when I'm more sedentary, I think's the word. And that's part of what it is with me. I mean, I have a bad back. I'm 53 years old. I do a lot of physical stuff. And I just, it is what it is. But it's back spasm. I was just texting Kathy about it. I'll be fine. And by the way, to answer your question, Kathy's tied up tonight with her job and everything. But uh, when you asked how amped up I was when she met me the first time, uh, I never have an off night, so I'm always amped up, Angel. You know that, buddy. So there's no late lying down day. I didn't like a team my friend used to play for, Julian Edelman. No days off.
That's right. By the way, Duncan Dad says Beav needs load management. Signed Joel Embiid. Like,
Um, uh, I, the funny thing is, I'm 53 years old. I'm 5'7", about 190 pounds, and Joel Embiid will miss games or work like 35 times before the next day I take a day off. Like literally, the last I'd have to go back and look at this. There's Deborah. Um,
hey,
I
Deborah.
would say, yeah, there she is. The last day off I had was technically Christmas, but we weren't even open. I worked on Christmas Eve, and
Right.
before that, the last day I didn't work was in May when the baseball team went to Omaha, Nebraska, Michigan. I went with them, so I never take a day off. I hate holidays. I don't even know what the hell you're supposed to do on a holiday. Um, I just it's not my thing, and you know, it just is what it is. But yeah, I mean, as long as I get my 4 to 5 hours sleep and take care of my back, like any other thing I did this morning, instead of I go and do my walk in the morning like I did
Right.
yesterday, where I sent the video to Pete because Pete wanted to see what I looked like after I was walking around. I took a couple phone calls and was 4 hours behind, and then I walked around. So it's just back spasms. It's not. I'll be fine. It's a long way from my heart. I'll be fine.
So I'm wondering, just before we get everything fired off here. So when we go
Mm.
to Beav's museum, can we? Is it a day of
It's
nostalgia?
funny. It's funny that you bring this up because Deborah and I were just talking about this earlier today.
Nice.
She wants me to make like my apartment into a museum with all the different stuff, and Kathy would say the same thing. It's pretty funny with all this stuff. What's up, Mickey?
What's up,
What's up,
Mickey?
Dunk? Load management. Angel. If you had the choice to get rid of Sirianni or Embiid, there's one. I want to hear that. Sirianni or Embiid?
Embiid's done. And
You would get rid of Embiid. You would
yeah,
get rid of Embiid.
Embiid would be my first choice to
Yes,
get rid of.
because he's done nothing. Sirianni just annoys the hell out of you, but he's actually competent in what he does.
Correct.
Embiid, I don't know what he does. And the thing that should piss you off as a 76ers fan is he showed up trying to play for the Olympics and he was hurt. Like, what are you doing? It's like, and that's the whole problem with the NBA. And like people haven't made a big enough stink about what LeBron James did the other night when he took away a roster spot from a young kid and acted like, I mean, that's why that league sucks, because there's too many guys like him that just are about, it's a lot of me guys instead of we guys.
Yep.
And in football and baseball, in the sports, we all like hockey, particularly in hockey, you have to make a commitment to go out and if you don't go out, if you're half-assed, you're going to get broken in half. I mean, that's why you had 3 fights in 9 seconds the other night. I mean, Embiid is, I mean, that whole organization, going back to Ben Simmons and you know, not to make light of it, the guy's got mental problems, but it's just, you know, James Harden. There's so many unlikable guys in the NBA. Jimmy Butler quits on his team and gets handed what, $140 million, and you know, Kawhi Leonard never plays. You know, Kevin Durant. I mean, what number team is he on now? I mean, it just, the league is just, it's so unlikable. It's just, yeah, waste of time.
It is. It absolutely is. Duncan Dad says, love her, but Diana Taurasi did the same thing to Caitlin Clark in the Olympics. I said what I said. Yep, it's true. Did the same thing. I don't understand why in the world Caitlin Clark didn't get in. And I don't want to hear it was, well, you know, she was in college, you know, the process, you know, it's basketball. No offense, it's basketball. And she was more than capable of representing the U.S. for the women in basketball. So don't give me this nonsense. Well, you know, they already had the committee, but no, it's not. You guys just didn't want her there because, you know, she would show everybody up. But it's okay. She'll just keep doing
No,
it.
it's very similar. If you remember what the veteran players in the NBA did to Michael Jordan in the first All-Star game he was in, where they didn't pass him the ball. And that was orchestrated by Magic Johnson. I know I'm going to go to hell because I just said bad things about Magic Johnson. If you really read up on him, there's a lot of bad stuff with him. And Isaiah Thomas throws him out. And the reason why Jordan found out about this is Casey Jones found out, the old Celtics coach, and told Michael. The best part of that story is Casey Jones's daughter, one of his daughters, works for Michael Jordan in Chicago now. Michael remembers things and takes care of people that look out for him. Yeah, because so supposedly Magic and Isaiah orchestrated, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the freeze out in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Where they didn't throw Jordan the ball. And if you understand the NBA All-Star game, everybody gets the ball. There's no, they all share the ball. Some guys don't want to play big minutes. They tell people, hey, I'm not going to play. But everybody gets their touches and gets their stats. And then somebody gets hot. They just keep feeding them the ball. Well, those two clowns went against them for different reasons. Magic's just petty. And Isaiah's from Chicago. And he resented Jordan from day one because he became the king of Chicago, which Isaiah thought he was going to be. And Isaiah's just a petty guy anyways, over the Larry Bird stuff and a whole bunch of other things he did. But, no, it's crazy. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Duncan. Tommy's like that too. And Jordan is different than Tommy in, I think he's more tough on his guys than Thomas, regardless of the Baker Mayfield stuff we saw this year, which was pretty funny. But no, it's interesting to see how everybody handles things differently. But no, the NBA is a mess. And it's when you have a clown who's supposed to be the face of your league, and that's LeBron James. Everything's about him. He got handed another great player for discount prices, and that team still sucks. And I know you're stunned to hear this, Angel. Anthony Davis is hurt. No way, really. Who could have predicted that?
Well, that's
So,
the same way they they inflamed that report because they had to make the trade. And if you're gonna get somebody good in there, and they knew Anthony Davis was used goods, but they're gonna do it
mhm.
anyways. According to the Lakers, they had mentioned, oh no, he had like air or something trapped up by his ribs. Did he really? Because that's not what the medical report ended up putting out. That it was more than just air trapped in his ribs. But the NBA just keeps pushing out a bad product. They know it. The same way, referring back to what you earlier said about Josh Harris. Josh Harris doesn't care. Josh Harris, only thing that he cares about right now is trying to make the Commanders the next Super Bowl champion. And by the way, CJ GJ is tired of everyone talking about the Dallas Cowboys as if they're the best thing since sliced bread, and all of a sudden they're winning the Super Bowl come next year. So we're only a week separated from what the parade, just about.
Yep.
And here they are, they're still giving the Cowboys all this praise. And let's not forget that old Dak Prescott said as soon as he got signed, now it's time to go win a Super Bowl. And how did that work out for you, their Cowboys this season? It didn't. So everything with the Cowboys is good on paper until it's not. And it's going to be the same way come next year. Nothing is going to change. You guys
No.
went with a safe hire with Schottenheimer. That's all it was. He's nothing exciting. He's nothing that's going to bring anything new. He hasn't done stuff and somewhere in the league to be like, wow, he's going to be like the name guy. If everybody wanted him so bad, according to what the Cowboys said, why wasn't he on the hot list for teams that really needed an actual head coach? Nope. You guys went with him. You're going to give McCarthy a year off, figure out what he wants to do. Oh, and then find out if Belichick actually wants to become a Cowboy. So get out of here with all that nonsense. I get tired of hearing everybody just trying to hype up the Cowboys and doing absolutely nothing. So and Cowboys, that's not apologetic because I think I've stuck up for you guys enough to figure out that until this team believes in itself, nothing's going to
Mhm.
happen. On top of the cap space, all the stuff that's going on with Dallas, that
Mhm.
is going to be a dysfunctional organization, at least for the next 2 seasons, unless
Yeah.
they make something miraculously happen.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, here's the other thing. Why would Bill Belichick take that job? They're not. It's not going to be a good team.
Nope.
I think a team like the Bengals or the Bills, which should have a major opening with the coaching change, if they don't get better, particularly the Bengals. And he has a big relationship with the Brown family. Bill does. He talks about Paul Brown like he's Jesus, and obviously he knows Josh Allen really well from the Patriots playing the Bills, and he would love to stick at the Bob Kraft and the Patriots and win with the Bills and Josh Allen. And the other thing is, perfectly honest with you, he could say, "Hey, I can win with another quarterback, not named Tom Brady." He can't, but he can try to say that. But it's just the reality of what this is. But I just honestly, I think part of the reason you just kind of said it, Angel, the Kellen Moore thing, them getting him is I don't think that's a very good job. In reality, I mean, why wouldn't Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn want to talk to the Cowboys? They're Dan Campbell guys, and Dan Campbell's Mr. Texas. That would be the thing you should be worried about long term with the Lions is that Jerry Jones, he's near the end, decides, hey, let's give Dan Campbell 6 years, $90 million, or 6 years, $120 million. And I don't know. I mean, if he watches Jared Goff for 6 more games, he might want to take that. But no, it's just that I think the reality we see the big name coach, and maybe even Pittsburgh is another job that could open. We saw the Mike Tomlin thing with Coach Belichick and so forth, but we'll see. There's a big, you and I were talking about this on the pre-show. There's a big veteran quarterback market out there. A Rod, Sam Darnold, who will probably be franchise tagged by Minnesota, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, who could be traded, Sam Darnold, lesser guys, Jameis, Derek Carr, Geno Smith. There's some guys out there that could be moved, and it's going to be really interesting. Um, what does a team like the Jets do? Whoever looks like they're a pretty good team. That's where you're hearing Kirk Cousins, which I think would make sense for somebody like Aaron Glenn, who wants to play defense and keep the games close. Their defense will be good. So either they add a veteran QB doesn't screw up. But at the end of the year, Kirk Cousins was bad, which is weird because A-Rod started out bad and got good, almost like he missed OTAs or something, Angel. And Kirk Cousins looked good early, and then he got worse. Now, the difference athletically between those two guys is insane. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a freak show. I know he doesn't work hard, and football isn't his priority, but he's a freak. Kirk Cousins is the exact opposite of Aaron Rodgers. He puts the time in. He's a hard worker. He's a good team guy. He's gotten the most out of his ability, but he's not overly physically talented. He's gotten beat up, and you have that. That's a bad injury, the Achilles. So coming back from that wasn't easy, and it was just weird to watch.
Mickey, that's so far that's to be rumored, but
Yeah,
that's what they
yeah,
think would be a landing spot. And
yeah.
if they decide to move on from their quarterback, it's not an upgrade. Believe me, it's not an upgrade.
No, they have Matthew Stafford under contract. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to go there with Matthew Stafford there right now.
No, you would have to make a trade, which would be
Now,
the scariest trade ever.
I've talked about this on with Pete and you also, Angel. I think that could happen. It would break. You think you talking about Sirianni was bad? Could you imagine McVay and Aaron Rodgers? He could break Sean McVay. Aaron Rodgers will make Sean McVay so nuts he'll miss Jared Goff. So I mean, it's just pretty nuts when you think about it. But I really think there's going to be some quarterbacks musical chairs here. Now, also remember, there's a lot of good veteran quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, Josh Allen, guys like that are signed and under contract. Baker Mayfield, those type of guys. And then there's a lot of younger guys, Jaden Daniels and all the other rookies who came in, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence. And a lot of these guys are in a position where there's not going to be a lot of jobs out there. Now, this is the advantage that a team like the Commanders has over your Eagles because you paid Jalen Hurts. They have Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. So if Myles Jarrett wants to go get the most money and still be on a pretty good team, the Commanders are a feasible option. As if he's getting 30 from Washington and 15 from the Eagles, he's probably going to go to Washington because, they were in the NFC Championship game and the money would be offset. But that's the reality here you have. Another team like Houston's another team with good rookie quarterback in CJ Stroud. I mean, rookie deal quarterback.
Right.
And, it's harder for a team like the Buccaneers who paid their quarterback, like the Lions, Josh Allen and the Bills. We'll talk about the Bengals in a minute, but the Ravens with Lamar. So it's interesting to see. But, the story coming out today where the cap's going to go up $25 to $30 million. Well, shit. Imagine if the Bengals paid T. Higgins in the offseason like somebody said they should have. That would be me. They could just go and pay Jamar Chase. Instead, they played stupid Bengals reindeer games. And now they're making Joe Burrow go on TV and sound like one of these Israeli guys being held by Hamas. Hey, can we pay everybody? Give me some goddamn help, please? And, because the things they did in the offseason, and I bring this up every time the Bengals come up, Angel, they gave Joe Mixon away. I mean, that's a good football player. They just gave away.
Yep.
Because of money. Well, what did they do with the money? They extend anybody, Angel?
Nope.
You know what they did? They Mike Brown and friends took some money. That they made some money, and the new practice facility, which Joe Burrow had to embarrass him into making. And if you watch, people don't understand this, and you and I have talked about this before, Angel, and Pete too, because we have Trags on who used to cover the Patriots. His friend Pete's, and I know Trags is too. But the Bengals go to practice. They have to walk across the street with traffic.
That's what I heard.
The cars. It's like the scene in Rocky where Sly's running up City Hall, the steps. That's what the Bengals had to walk around a street and practice.
That makes no sense. Who?
And they're good. The team is good.
I know they're good, but
Imagine.
they're
I
so
can't.
good like they're racing by the house.
I mean, I can't. I saw that. And by the way, have you been to the Bengals Stadium? The Bengals Stadium is nice. It's
That's what I heard.
one of my favorite road trips. I told Pete that. I've been to about half the stadiums in the league,
Right.
and I would say that's like one of my 2 or 3 favorite places. Um, Kathy and I were talking about this the other night. Ford Field's awesome where the Lions play. Um, the new Chicago Stadium is nice. I like Raymond James. Jacksonville. There hasn't really been anywhere I've been to. I've been to the Link and I went to the Vet. Um, I went to the Link for a college game. I think it was Temple. But no, it's just weird. It's a very going to be a weird off season, and you also have the wide receiver market with T Higgins, DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, who I think they're going to end up releasing the 49ers and other
Right.
teams. But
After a holdout and wanting to get paid.
well, I mean, again, here's another stupid team that screwed up an offseason. They paid Brandon Ayuk, and who was no Debo Samuel is not going to age well, but Brandon. Nobody goes to a game to watch Brandon Ayuk play. It's the same thing with T Higgins. Nobody goes, and great. Joe Burrow wants to have T Higgins. Great. I want to have Christy Brinkley. Can you make that happen for me, Angel? I mean, come on. I mean, it's reality of the world. You can't pay everybody in this world. You think Pat Mahomes was happy they traded Tyreek Hill? You know when he was happy they're traded Tyreek Hill? When he's sitting on the sideline and watch McDuffie and all these defensive guys they added in that trade to keep the score manageable so he can win the game 21-17. You you cannot pay everybody in the NFL. It's just the reality of the way things are. So it's nuts, but it is what it is.
It's gonna
But
be the same way when it comes down to Josh Harris, and we're just speaking about him now. All of a sudden, he wants to, be in the Cooper Cup sweepstakes, and the only reason why Josh Harris wants to do it because now his mission, since he doesn't care about the Sixers, and told the Sixers, by the way, don't root for the Birds just because his Commanders friggin' lost. He's on a mission just to beat the Eagles, just because, not because he wants to upgrade his team, not because he actually cares about his team. Hey, it's just a mission now. It's time to beat Philly, and that's fine if that's what you want to end up doing. But he's going to come with a price tag too. I'm quite sure, even though it may not happen, but because of Jaden Daniels and the success he had in his first season, I would not be surprised if come OTAs, the agent says, oh, by the way, I know you're still 3 years away from actually renegotiating your contract, but guess what you're going to do? You're going to do an Emmett, or not Emmett Smith. Who's the dum-dum, the running back? The
Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
Zeke Elliott did it.
Yeah, he's going to
He
tell
screwed
them
up their whole team. Screwed up their whole team when he did that, by the way.
correct. So he's going to tell them to do the same thing. Go to Mexico, just wait for them. Hey, yeah, don't worry. They're going to pay. They're going to pay you because these agents start doing really dumb things, put these guys in bad situations, and because you hired them, they're like, "Are you sure that's what I should do?" Yeah, don't worry about it. Just go to that island. You'll be just fine. If they call, don't pick up. I'll take care of it. And if anything, I'll send Big Dumb Dom over there. I'll make sure that you're protected. So the NFL is going to continue doing silly and dumb things. And on top of you had also mentioned Kirk Cousins. So Michael Penix obviously is going to be the starter in Atlanta, which now Atlanta has to figure out what are they going to do because Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, is not hanging around as a backup quarterback. So either you're going to leave him on the bench and eventually make the third string, the second string, making him the third string, which they already have this year anyways. But now if someone reaches out for him, who's going to take on that kind of contract? And then wondering, is Kirk Cousins the Kirk Cousins of Minnesota or the Kirk Cousins of the Atlanta Falcons?
He's in between. Now, but here's the reality. A team like Cleveland would make sense, except that he can't play in that weather.
Right.
He's not physically talented enough to play in that weather. The Raiders would make sense. The Seattle, I think, would make sense.
But they're going with Geno Smith.
Yeah, but isn't he up? or aren't they gonna? They have to decide on him long term.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of surprised because Geno
Kirk Cousins also makes sense for the Jets, but the weather again, he can't
correct.
play. He's a dome quarterback. He can't play in the weather.
Nope.
I mean, and
The Cardinals.
well, that's an interesting scenario because Angel, have you really ever watched Kyler Murray play a whole game? I swear to God, you know how you are with Sirianni. That's like
Yep.
me watching Kyler Murray try to play quarterback. He just does things. He looks like I don't even know how to explain it. Like he's like the guy who shows up to take the test in school and he studied for 5 minutes and and I'm not even talking about the video games and stuff. He just doesn't look like he knows what the hell he's doing.
He
He's like,
doesn't.
I'm the playground athlete guy. Just run around. And I hate doing that with the racial connotations there. But that's how Josh Allen used to be. And he got streamlined and figured things out. And, the biggest example of that ever, and it wasn't his fault, of that was like 34 years ago, was Randall Cunningham. But they didn't have a system. It was like Buddy Ryan's like, hey, just run around. Reggie White and friends will keep us in the game and you just do Randall things. And these guys get bad habits and just run around and they make mistakes. That's part of what Mahomes' problem is, by the way, because he's the king of the broken play. And when you play high-level defensive coordinators, they teach their guys, hey, when he scrambles and drifts, run to the middle of the field. That's where the ball's going. And what do you know? He did it twice against your team. So, and the Buccaneers were prepared for that too. So I think it's interesting to see, but it's going to be such a strange market here. We'll know a lot, Angel, next week with the combine and everything. What's going to happen because a lot of stuff will leak and there'll be deals. There've already been some cuts and moves and interesting things to happen. And don't be surprised if somebody like Mike Vrabel brings in a good veteran quarterback to work with Kirk Cousins. The Steve DeBerg, the Doug Peterson, guys back in the day, Frank Reich, who was great as a backup. Veteran guy it's not Steve Young and Joe Montana where they're trying to take each other's job. Matt Castle earlier in his career. I almost wanted to make you crack up and laugh. I almost said Jimmy Garoppolo. I wanted to see if you were awake. That stupid son of a bitch. I hate him. I'm going to do a hallelujah for that. I said that clown's name. Such a dope. No, it's just going to be interesting to see because these guys, they're going to get on a team and get into camp. Like, look at Sam Darnold's a great example. You think he went to the Vikings and thought, hey, they just drafted J.J. McCarthy first round. I'm going to play. No, he didn't. And then J.J. got hurt. So, and there's a couple of those every year that happen.
But I think
go to Miami. We've all seen what happens to Tua. So there's another one.
That's still, it's not even as much as Tua. How does Mike McCarthy still have, not Mike McCarthy, excuse me, McDaniels? How does he still?
Mike McCarthy's a better coach than McDaniels, but you are correct. Yes.
I mean, by far. By far. But how is it? Pete says it all the time. It's absolute truth. McDaniel is not going to the freaking Super Bowl. Not anytime soon. I mean, this year he came in with
can buy tickets. He can buy tickets and go. But he's not going to.
No, this year he decided to change his outfit and look like the 70s perm, from back in 1968 before the 70s came around. That made no sense to me either. But how in the world, where?
He looked like Lindsey Buckingham and Fleetwood Mac in the 70s. He was. I couldn't stop laughing when I saw it. No, I mean, and how about the story, Angel? The story about guys not showing up for practice and things on time.
Correct.
And he allows that.
So what GM said that guy?
I couldn't believe I saw that story.
That's why I don't understand. How in the world? Dolphins fans. Look, I feel just as bad for Dolphins fans as I do for Browns fans. It's like the hope and expectation every single year is like, this is our year. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Hey Chuck, did you bring the brown bags? Because we're probably gonna need it by the end of the first quarter. You already know how the season's gonna end up playing out. Then you get Tua, not for nothing. But you get freaking Tua. He is one hit away from being done. So I'm sorry.
being spoon-fed applesauce. Yes.
Right. So to
I
me,
mean,
the way I'm looking at it is like, listen, I might not have the opportunity as a starter to win a Super Bowl. How about if I go to a team, just
like
be
Nick
a
Foles.
backup,
Nick
right?
Foles.
Be a backup somewhere when you know that
Yeah.
the team has a great possibility of making a Super Bowl run. Get your ring, get paid, go home. You have a family to worry about, a family to take care of.
In underrated, another one that was underrated, where the guy kind of saved his career, was Mac Jones,
Yeah.
who went in when Trevor Lawrence got hurt, the dirty hits, and then his shoulder went. Mac Jones came in and played pretty well. So,
Hmm.
there's other ones. Tyler Huntley was one a couple of years ago.
Yep.
He's been in the league for a while. You come in and show you're not a clown. I don't like him personally, but Spencer Rattler, I guess, was pretty good when he got in and played. And look at your team. The fools from the Steelers gave up on your backup, and he
Yep.
came in and did good.
I
Now,
agree.
you and I have talked about this. He only runs and throws to one side. You can figure out which one that is. If you listen to Angel and I, we know which one that is. But if you watch, I mean, he's kind of easy to scout and defend,
Hmm.
but he's good at what he does. And if he's on a good team, he can get away with that stuff. But look at like somebody like Brock Purdy, who came out of nowhere. He's about to get $50 million a year. So, and Baker Mayfield, he didn't have a job, and he thought Tampa was a good situation. He went there. And another great example, he just signed an extension. Say Sam Darnold, not Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton. Excuse me, Andy Dalton. Who, by the way, he gets in a car crash, and then they have to play Bryce Young, and Bryce Young comes in and plays pretty good. So it is, what it is. But no, the league, there's two or three teams every year where something funny happens with a quarterback. The most famous ones are Kurt Warner and Tommy and Brock Purdy and to a lesser extent Nick Foles. That was late in the year for you guys. And
Yeah.
when I'm on every show with Angel, I have to say Nick fucking Foles' name. It's in the contract. So and I have to say it, Nick fucking Foles. The that commercial, by the way, that's Tom didn't even script. He just yelled. That was Tom. That was really Tom. I'm half kidding and half serious, but just his reaction there was
That
good.
is a great
But no,
commercial.
oh, it's a great commercial. It's a great commercial. And by the way, Nick Foles is a good guy. If you're going to lose the Super Bowl, there's worse guys you could lose to. There was another one we lost twice to the same guy. I won't talk about that. I'm not contractually obligated to talk about that. Fucking Gomer Pyle. But I changed his name to that too. FGP. You get gas pump guy. You get FGP. So Angel, let's move over to USA Hockey before we get you out of here. And you've had you need your rest. You listen. I people don't know the behind the scenes dealings. Angel here is the man. He does everything for us. He makes me look good. He makes Pete look good. He can't make Duncan Dad look good. That's impossible. But the Rich Q and everybody else and all the other guys we got here at the network, he does a really good job. And I'm helping him, trying to get things going. I brought us some heavy hitters. And hopefully things will start to turn out pretty big and we can Angel be in a palatial palace or his studio the way we're going. So that's the plan. But the man's the rock for all of us. He makes us the show go and all that. So without him, there's no Beav's world, and there's no Pete and everybody else. So the man right there. Good job, Angel.
Thank you. No, I try. A lot of work, but you spread yourself out thin
There you go, baby.
ways from Sunday. It usually works. Just like
There you go.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about USA Hockey. I posted updates. So what's going on right now is Quinn Hughes did want to come and help Team USA. Charlie McAvoy busted up his shoulder. He got an infection in his AC joint. He's had surgery there before. He got re-aggravated. He's definitely going to be out for the game. And he's got an infection. He's in the hospital. He also just had a newborn baby. So that's not ideal, being at home with a newborn baby and an infection in his shoulder. So he's out. So Jake Sanderson played in the game the other night, and he was fine. He's a good player. He's not Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is not medically cleared to play. He tried to practice with a non-contact jersey in Vancouver. He's not healthy. He's not going to come. So they called up Brett Peace and Tage Thompson. Brett Peace, I believe, is now on the what team is Peace on? He's on the New Jersey Devils now. Really good defenseman, so he'll be your seventh defenseman. He might sneak in there. And Tage Thompson, the Buffalo Sabres center, has also been called up. That's more of a precautionary thing. Brady Tkachuk was resting today. Neurovirus is going through both teams. That Austin Matthews had it. Cal McCarr had it. So that's the thing. But I listen, I posted this. I grew up with the Tkachuks. I grew up with Billy Guerin. In order for the Tkachuks to miss this game, they'd have to be dead. They're going to play. Now, I didn't say they're going to play well. They're going to try to play. There's a difference between playing well and playing. They're going to try to suit up. I think they will play well. They're incredibly tough kids. Crowd will get them through whatever they're going to have to take to play. They'll be fine. The reality is USA has some significant advantages in goal. They're going to have the home crowd. I think there's a pretty good possibility President Trump shows up. General Manager Bill Guerin has gone on TV and made calls today, and they're trying to get the president to show up for the game because of what happened in Canada. Those of you who don't know, they booed the anthem, and now the Tkachuks and JT Miller were going to fight anyways because that was going to happen regardless because this is a big deal. We've been killing them in the World Juniors in all levels of lower level hockey. We've had international competition almost 10 years. So these guys wanted to win and go out there and prove a point. And no better way to prove a point than punch somebody in the face. Yeah. So, but the important part was not only did they won 2 of the 3 fights, and JT Miller just wins the fight for fighting a guy who's got about 8 inches on him, and he didn't get his ass kicked. He did fine. But they won the game. Goal by Dylan Larkin, one of my boys, U of M guy, Michigan captain. Red Wings captain. But I thought it was a good game. But the whole key to this game is control in the middle of the ice. First 10 minutes of the game, make Canada play. And don't let they blew out Sweden. They scored like 3 goals in 2 minutes the other night. Finland. They scored like 15 in the 15 seconds in with McDavid. One of the things that I think the Canadians are going to try to do is try to put the 3 Nova Scotia guys together, right, which is Sidney Crosby, McDavid. You and I talked about this. McDavid, Sidney Crosby, McKinnon. I say do it. You know why? USA's got the last change of the home team. They'll be able to dictate terms on who's on the ice, which defense pair will be Jacob Slavin and whoever's with him. Probably Brock Faber will be out on the ice. So when you have the last change, that element of who the hell we're going to put on the ice doesn't matter. So you can put those 3 guys together. They'll put Eichel and the Tkachuks out against them. Austin Matthews, who's an elite defensive player at this point, in his line out there. So there's things they can do. They're going to get the terms and matchups they want. But I need somebody like Fox to play better. He's had kind of a rough tournament. Adam Fox from Harvard and the New York Rangers. Zach Werenski's been great. He's probably having the best season of anybody in the NHL, and he's one of my U of M guys. But again, I think there's going to be the first 10 minutes of this game is going to be very important. The Tkachuks and the guys who have been out, I mentioned Austin Matthews, have to go out and have a good feel for the game. I wish Quinn Hughes could play, but he's hurt. It's not a rules thing. It's not Canada blocking. Trust me, the NHL wants Quinn Hughes to play. This isn't the Olympics. It's a TV show.
Right.
So, and it's been great for the league. The fact that you and I are talking about it on a Wednesday night at 6:45, whatever the hell time it is a good thing. But it's going to be an interesting game. And it's obvious. It's funny as hell too, because you guys are down in Florida, where obviously Matthew Tkachuk plays,
yep,
and you got Hagel who's on the Lightning, and there's a couple other guys. Hedman was in this, and obviously there's Bennett and Reinhart are on Canada for the Panthers. So it's going to be interesting, but I actually feel pretty positive about this from a U.S. perspective. I think they're going to come out and play pretty well. Bennington doesn't scare me, the goalie. And I know we beat the Bruins in 2019 in Game 7, but that Bruins team sucked. Uh, uh, but the reality is, I just think USA has a better team, and I think the home crowd and the last change and all that's going to help. And I think somebody like maybe Jake Gensel or Kyle Connor. Jake Gensel's had a lot of good chances, and Kyle Connor's had a lot of chances too. I think one of those guys could get hot, and but it's really fun to watch somebody like Jack Eichel, who was in the witness protection program for a lot of his career, known as the Buffalo Sabres, and it's like Dylan Larkin's the same way, and he actually said it on TV, which I thought was pretty damn funny.
It was fun.
I haven't done a lot. I haven't done a lot of winning. I couldn't stop laughing when I said that. And Dylan's my boy, so it's great to see. That's my Facebook picture, me and him. And but no, it's cool for these kids. We've seen how big a joke the NBA All Star Game is. These guys are just happy to be playing with other great players and not being on a crappy team or a crappy situation where they get 10, 20 dudes running them because they're the only guy on the team.
Right.
To a lesser extent, with McDavid faces every night, but he's got good players with him. So it's but the McAvoy thing is going to be interesting because he was a huge part of the win Canada the first time. He laid McDavid out and he laid Crosby out. But they'll be prepared. They know, they've known for a while that Charlie was going to be out, and Jacob Slavin and some of these other guys. It's transition and mistakes and pucks and bodies to net. The USA hit like 6 posts the other night, and just reality. Reality, what's going on? What's up, Joey? But no, it's gonna be interesting.
It
So,
is.
what do you
By the
think,
way,
Angel? What do you think? Yeah, what do you think, Angel? Talk to me.
Yeah. Before that, Jerry in Rhode Island, before I get to his comment, I've been wondering how he's been because I know down here we were at, I don't know, about 71-ish today. I heard it was a lovely, about 10 degrees. That might even be a farce, but I'm just wondering how he's doing. By the way, he says, good evening, guys. Perfect timing, hockey talk, and Trump. Holy crap. Which, yes. So welcome, Jerry. And then
Well,
Joey.
no, yeah. Go ahead, Angel. Talk. I'll talk about that in a minute after you're done. Go ahead.
Yep, man. Joey says, good evening to the both of us here. Good evening, Joey B, as always out there from Colorado. But no, you know what? The NHL, I think, I don't want to say perfected because then if I say that, and all of a sudden come next year, it turns out to be, just crap. But they
We're
did
gonna have
it.
the Olympics next year, so
Yeah. But it just, to me, if you're going to do something like this is so much more better than that goofy, ridiculous in-season NBA tournament that no one gives an absolute crap about. So the way the NHL did it, I like the way they did it. I wouldn't be surprised. I actually, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing it twice in the same season. In actuality, like you do the setup to it. Do the setup.
Takes a lot out of the players though.
It
Because
does.
you remember, don't forget Shea Theodore broke his arm.
Right.
He's McCarr's defensive partner. I'm sorry, no, he'd be Alex Pietrangelo defense partner. So they're down. Think about this: they're down 2 of their top 4 defensemen, in Pietrangelo and Theodore, and then McCarr and Toews play together. So those would be their first 4 defensemen. So the other night when we played them, they were down 3 of those guys.
Right.
So that's a big part. And then you got to deal with the Kachucks. If you're a defenseman and you don't know what the hell you're doing back there, and you got Keith, you got Brady and Matthew trying to kill you.
But
And Jack Eichel and some of these other guys don't walk in the park either.
What I
So,
like, I like how the brothers come out. They said it was supposed to be organic, but then he talks about how he was going to do it first, and then his brother's going to do it afterwards. I thought that was a funny interview when he was asked about it. So
Matthew's hilarious. Matthew's hilarious. The thing that they had to do it that way because Bennett plays with Matthew on the Florida Panthers. So Matthew's not going to fight him. So, and of course, if you saw it, Hagel went up to Matthew and said something to him.
Yeah.
And now that's a Panthers Lightning thing. And the JT Miller thing was hilarious because JT Miller is my size. And he went after the biggest guy on the other team, and he did okay in the fight. But I thought both Kachucks won their fight. I knew Matthew. If you listen to the game, Ray Ferraro was telling you what was going to happen because Brady was yelling at Bennett, "Hey, get out here! You're next."
Yeah.
And Ray Ferraro's sitting there. He's between the benches, so he knows what's going on. And the reality is this: '96 team which the general manager of the team, Bill Guerin and Keith Tkachuk, were on. They had a very similar brawl with the Canadians, and Keith beat up Claude Lemieux, broke his nose because Keith played on the Winnipeg Jets early in his career, and one of his buddies was Chris Draper, who Claude Lemieux was famously killed with the dirty hit.
Right.
So it's amazing how these things work, and that spurred the Red Wings, by the way, off to beat the Avalanche and win their Stanley Cup for the first time in like 40 years. But it's reality. It's this is a tough physical sport. There are guys who don't like each other, and things that go on in the games, and it'd be interesting to see. Now, again, remember the USA has the last change.
Correct.
Suppose Coach Cooper puts out Bennett with Hagel out to start the game, or does he start McDavid, or does he start Sidney Crosby? If I was him, I'd start Sidney Crosby's line. Whoever you start with the veteran stable guy, you put Sidney Crosby out there, or maybe it depends. You get to communicate with your star players.
Yeah,
their team's going to run through Connor McDavid and Cal McCarr. Those are they're the two best players in either team. Those are the two best players in this game. They both played for Canada. But I think the USA's got like 6 of the next 8 guys. So, and the best player in the USA in the series has been Jack Eichel, which is a good thing for them. Because Austin Matthews is what he is. He's another one who's in a witness protection program in Toronto. It's not a witness protection program, but it's the equivalent of hell because they're never going to win anything there. There's they can't get past the Bruins for God's sakes, but it's just different. I'd say, but we'll have a good idea first 5-10 minutes of the game, and be interesting if there's a fight in the first minute.
So
I wouldn't be surprised because Matthew and Hagel were going at it today in the media session. If you saw that,
no, I missed it.
Well, Hagel's like, we didn't embarrass ourselves and plan a fight. And Matthew's like, well, I'm sorry, these clowns don't do group chats and talk. They probably don't like each other. It's typical how Matthew is.
Right.
Matthew's Eddie Haskell, if you haven't figured that out from Leave It to Beaver.
That's a good point.
And Brady is like his dad. Brady is like his dad, who's somebody who's been around them. And he's seen the Tkachuks and followed the Tkachuks. But Matthew is like a bigger Brad Marchand. He's just a nuisance. And that's another one, by the way. That's another variable. Marchand in this game is going to be interesting. How he's the kind of a firecracker type player and how he holds up in this game. And it's his home crowd. They will not boo the Canadian anthem. That's for them. And by the way, that's not a new thing in Montreal. They booed in '96 with our team, and other teams have gone up there, and they've always booed almost my life with the Bruins. Going back up there, and it's a French Canada thing. They don't do it, I think, in Edmonton and Vancouver and other places. But in Montreal, and obviously this stuff with the tariffs and Trump and Trudeau, that's part of it. But it's great hockey, and it's a good experience. And I don't like the political parts of it, but it's the reality. It's a trade war. And people's jobs and lives and their bottom lines are impacted. And Trudeau's on his way out, and President Trump's been elevated, and he's got really good support. So it's the reality of what's going on. But it's a small part of what's going on. Hopefully we just have a good hockey game. We don't have to deal with a lot of that nonsense.
Hopefully. By the way, to add, 2 things. One was Joey B said 4 nations should be held every other year or every 4th year. So here's one, and he's got 2 more comments to follow that one. What if, let's just say, because next year obviously is the Winter Olympics. So let's say then we do this if every 4 years, the year prior to the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, so you do. This is what they should do. They should have the Olympics is next year. They should have a break in 27, then the 4 nations again, then another break, and then the Olympics.
Yeah.
So every other year, at least one of these. Now remember, the Olympics is going to be the Russians and Czechoslovakia and other teams. Let's get a Jamaican bobsled type team come in, be crazy, come up with another foreign country like Denmark. or some team that has no chance. Belarus was won a couple of years ago. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
No.
And this reality, and you mentioned earlier the 2-1 year, that'd be hard to do because these guys, Angel, at the end of the season, they're all beat up. You remember a couple of years ago when the Panthers lost to Vegas in the Stanley Cup. Remember, Matthew Tkachuk missed the last couple of games. He had a broken sternum.
Yep. Yeah.
Say that out loud.
But
Broken sternum, like your like solar plexus, basically in the middle of your chest, basically. So, like, I've busted ribs and done that type of thing. That's really bad, but I can't even imagine. I mean, literally, how do you play with that? I see Joey B's question about Brady in Ottawa. He likes Ottawa, and they have a good young team. Um, and obviously, he knows a lot about the markets and things because his dad was on the Winnipeg Jets, moved to Arizona, the Coyotes,
right.
and then was in Atlanta and St. Louis. But it's. I think if he likes it there and they got a good team, and he's the captain there. That's the other thing. He's the captain of that team. I mentioned Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is the captain in Vancouver. Jacob Trouba was a big high guy with Winnipeg, and he got traded to the Jets, and now he's not the Rangers, excuse me, and now he's on the Ducks. So these Canadian markets, some guys like it. They like it, and I don't know if Brady would like the hot weather. His brother does. But remember, their family was in St. Louis and Arizona when they were kids. If you didn't know, Matthew Tkachuk was in the same high school class and buddies with Jason Tatum from the Celtics. If you haven't seen those pictures, they were in the same high school class and growing up together, which is pretty funny.
I
What's up,
did hear
Penguin?
that. What's up,
Yeah,
Penguin?
the Kachuks are from Keith works for the Blues and scouts for the Blues, and so that's interesting. But no, it's cool. But the cool thing is, follow up on Joey's point, is the casual hockey fans don't watch Ottawa. Obviously, I know their team, and I know who Matthew is and Brady is, obviously, so I follow their team. Well, Penguin, they're trying to get a expansion team. Now, you saw the story coming out now that NHL wants to go to New Orleans, which would do very well, by the way. That would do very well, and that's a good idea.
But where were they?
Yeah,
So
Arizona. Well, Arizona. Sorry to interrupt, Angel. I'll let you talk here in a second. Arizona State's doing well in the NCAA in hockey, so that's part of it. But this is all because of Wayne Gretzky. When he moved to California in '88, they had 4 high school teams in the state of California, and by like 1995, they had like 125. And I don't know what the number is now. I mean, you have Austin Matthews, the first pick in the draft. He's from Arizona.
yeah.
I mean, there's players from all different parts of the country now and getting drafted, and because of the Kachucks, and one is in Ottawa, one's in Florida. They're going to be guys there. There's kids from all over. You're going to have kids getting drafted from like Texas and other places like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. But two things. One was a team in Arizona. We understand when you were trying to see Penguin AZ. And believe me, there's a lot of folks that didn't want to see them go, but unfortunately, it went over to Utah. But one was, I guess,
Utah's doing that market's doing very well, by the way. And
yeah,
again, that was a good minor league market. So, and they only have the Jazz there. So it's like what Nashville has. They only have the Titans, and Nashville is a great hockey city, and they've done a great job there with the Predators. It's
but
been a really fun organization.
so you figured if they New Orleans gets an expansion team, they would play. I would imagine the same place where the Pelicans do. They just have to figure out how to get the ice as far as in place, which isn't hard, but they will get that done. And then, if you really think about it, so now let's just say the U.S. comes away with the 4-nation face-off, right? If they don't win that, do people finally start kind of looking at the U.S. As an actual real contender? We know that it obviously is starting.
Well, they should. They should. And I talked about the World Juniors.
Right.
The World Juniors, and Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup since 1993. That's not by accident, by the way, because the U.S. markets are stronger, and the translation with the dollar, obviously, the Canadian dollar is like 70% of the U.S. dollar, I believe is the number I've been told. But yeah, it's reality. Our World Junior team has been better. for the last couple of years. And Canada had a really bad, rough season this year in the World Juniors. But no, they view us as a threat. Of course they do, because Russia has kind of come back to earth too. And a lot of that was they would steal guys from their sub areas like Slovakia and things like that, and they have less guys, so less players to deal with. So it'll be fine, but it is what it is. I mean, we're a threat to them. We clearly are, and they know that. And it's and listen, I'll say this: when the USA does win, you know who's going to be on the Olympic team for Canada in 26 in the next Olympics? You know who Tom Wilson is? He's going to be on the Canadian Olympic team. Look him up. He's like the biggest. He's the biggest tough guy forward. He's one of the best fighters in the league, but he's a really good player too, and he's nuts like the Kachucks. So he'll be on Team Canada to deal with the Kachucks and anybody else. That's why he'll be on the team. There are a lot of people calling for that. Paul Bissonnette and other guys were calling for them to put him on the roster now because the other night. And by the way, the Kachucks aren't going to fight him because he's a fighter. They're good players to fight. There's a difference. It's like, famously Brendan Shanahan fighting Donald Brashear. That doesn't happen very much. The really good player doesn't fight. Like Mark Messier is not going to go out and fight Ty Domi. Adam Graves might fight Ty Domi, but that's it. Go ahead, Angel.
So speaking of, as we're getting ready to wrap up here, the Four Nations. So going back to Washington and that team down there, which I don't call my name too much just because, they play against the Flyers.
Your buddy Josh Harris.
Yeah. So Ovechkin obviously is close to Wayne Gretzky's record. And
did you do this to hurt me? I love Wayne Gretzky, right?
No, I know. I do too. That's the whole thing. It's like, okay, this is kind of like the thing with the Miami Dolphins that I don't want anybody to ever break down through the record. That's just me, whether undefeated season and other things that had happened. But now we get down to Ovechkin. That's just the only reason why he's hanging around is because he wants to break Gretzky's record. And then to me, it's one of those things. Even if they don't make the playoffs this year, if he breaks it, like, okay, thanks. I did everything I want to do in America. See you guys later. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I always thought Brett Hull would have done it. He has 700 something goals. Yeah. But the guy who would have broken all the records was Mario Lemieux. And Gretzky says this all the time, by the way. Mario would have broken every record. He broke his back. He got cancer. And it's the Mosquitoes, by the way, Joey B, is one of the names that's out there. That's out there.
The Mosquitoes?
And that's a good fit for a hockey team. Think about it. They're a pain in the ass. New Orleans Mosquitoes. It's
good point.
Yeah, that's good not. Point. It's like the Panthers, Lightning. They like these funky new age names. Vegas Golden Knights. And, that's one of the interesting with the Utah team. What's their name going to be? Can you believe that was one of the first things we talk about? You imagine them doing that today?
No.
The New York. Hey, how about the New York City Jews? Yeah. Or I mean, it's like, hey, the Boston nuts. Black guys. Really? Bullets. Hey, the Richmond rapists. Let's go. What? Like, who came up with that idea?
Who the heck knows? That was just the dumbest thing. Just like
and then they come up with the derivative for the Ku Klux Klan as the team name.
Yeah, the Washington Wizards. Yep. Then they had to go back and.
Is it a comedy show? What the hell are they doing?
Who knows? It's DC. It's what DC's done for years.
Well, no, there's any shootings in DC.
Yeah, which they don't even talk about anymore, even though it happens every single day. By the way, Jerry Moran said USA-Canada matchup is how hockey is supposed to be played. Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. But I wanted to get to one thing here that I mentioned
in my hometown and home city, which is a great best hockey city in the United States. It's going to be great.
I mentioned this to me before we went on air as we were talking in the green room. And the one thing that I thought was extremely funny, and I don't know why in the world they had to do this, but other than a lot of people who continue to talk about the Eagles for good things, there was the parade that happened last Friday in Philly. I thought the funniest thing was you have Fox 29 and one one thing I will say, parades, and they're just going to be what they are. They're just going to be, there's going to be people talking. They're going to have, fun with it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Why don't you just come out and make one blanket statement and just say, listen, we were just going to throw this out there. We apologize profusely for what you're about to hear. The fines are coming. Just enjoy the show. But no, this is what went on in Philly during the broadcast, during the parade. So hope you guys enjoy.
Fucking champion.
We apologize. Of course, we're on live TV, and we apologize for the profanity.
You guys are tough. You guys are resilient. And you guys know how to fucking fight.
And we apologize again for Saquon Barkley's profanity. Again, live TV.
Hey, Philly. This city overcomes shit.
And we apologize again for the profanity.
She's laughing now. Did the mayor come up and spell the team again? Did she come up and talk?
And we apologize once more for the profanity.
Every fucking game.
And we apologize for the profanity. Back to Landon Dickerson.
After 22 feeling that loss, I didn't ever want to feel that shit again.
Sorry about that. Landon Dickerson talking about the loss. It's live TV. The emotion is there. Back to Landon.
I just got one last thing to
swear
say.
again.
Go fuck.
We cut that one off, but if you heard any of that, we apologize. Go Birds is what he said.
When I came to Philly, I was lost as a motherfucker. Excuse my language. Shout out to
And we apologize for CJ Gardner-Johnson's language. Here he is again.
Back to the
When I
girl
left,
doing
I cried my ass off. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, because I miss y'all like a motherfucker.
And once again, we apologize for CJ's language.
We're from Philly, fuck it.
And we apologize for Brandon Graham. He's pumped up. He's ready.
I'm a fucking champ.
It's like, come on. You guys should know. It's, first of all, it's
know.
really no different than any other place, except everybody knows. The first parade with Jason Kelce in his speech was so much better. That was on ESPN, so that wasn't even local.
Yep.
And there was nothing they can do because it was a live feed. They just let it roll with it. They knew they had to pay the fines. Jeffrey Lurie sent them a check and told them, listen, sorry, here's your money, no matter what. But come on. There was more than just that. There was a lot more because at one point the guy comes on, him and
hit by the bear can. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going back and forth. But then at one point, one of the guys said, I'm almost certain he said shit again. And like, we're sorry about that. What he meant to say was shucks, in case you were listening. I'm like, no, that's not what he said.
I was waiting for one of your apology broadcasts to come on and go, we're sorry about this fucking language. So it was funny. The girl got tired of saying it, so they brought the guy in to say it.
Yeah.
And then she like drank her water, took her cough drops, and came back. It was funny as hell. I mean, one of the things I should mention: AJ Brown going to visit that kid who helped his family for the plane crash. That was awesome. I love AJ Brown.
Yeah,
that was one of the really. That's one of the things I like about your team. A lot of good guys. I really like Jalen Hurts. I love Brandon Graham. You know that. And AJ Brown, but he's a good dude. And it's rare that this league is filled with nut job wide receivers. And he's a good dude.
Now,
get it. Couldn't have done it without Nick Sirianni, though, Angel.
Sure couldn't. Sure couldn't.
I got you.
Now, I will. Let me put this out there as a disclosure for folks.
Oh, I know what this is. I know what this is. The green, the Kermit the Frog. I know.
No,
yep.
So this, okay. And I know, I get it. We live in a world with AI stuff. And I know a lot of the athletes are getting upset because this stuff's coming up. But this obviously is not the actual Patrick Mahomes. Let me make that statement first and foremost. Because you guys can't read probably on the screen because it's in tiny letters. It's called Dangerous AI is the account that it comes from. But I thought this was funny. I know Pete won't play this on his show. But if Patrick Mahomes could really say what he wanted to say, this is what it would sound like.
Joker, I'm a trash can. Jalen Hurts absolutely destroyed me tonight. And the Eagles O-line pounded me raw. My cheeks are sore from all the pounding I took tonight. They didn't even use any protection. The Eagles O-line needs to practice safe sacks. You can't just pound me raw all night. And the refs did not get the memo over the week. They usually help me out a lot, but tonight I finally got exposed. Even my best friend Zebras couldn't save me from this demolition. And I saw Tom Brady in the booth tonight and told him I was about to take his GOAT title away. But that dude brought me bad luck, man. He put some voodoo on me tonight. Now I can never be mentioned as the GOAT after this embarrassing performance. And Travis Kelce was too worried about fixing his hair the whole game, trying to look cute for Taylor Swift. He went ghost when I needed him most. And I'm going to announce a ban tonight. Taylor Swift can no longer attend my games. This girl just brings my aura points down. So, Travis, take her wherever you want, but just don't bring her to my games.
and again, I know there's some people that will get
Waiting up Francis.
Yeah. By the way, Penguin, he says, come on, Angels. Yet your Eagles weren't on the same sheet. What was that? Same sheet of music. Listen, first of all, I think for many years the Eagles have, including the whole fiasco that happened the year before. So this has got nothing to do with the Eagles. This is, again, some guy who just likes to have fun, put some stuff up there. Obviously, it is not Patrick Mahomes. That's not what he really said. So I don't want anybody to take that anything serious because that was just AI generated. But if he could speak, I'm pretty sure those would be his words. Because again, listen, everybody's human. You're going to have a day where you're going to be like, man, this just, wow, what a day. This really sucks. And the guys can't say what they want because obviously it would get fined. Not only that, but then the team will say, well, your conduct is detrimental to our health here on our team. So they can't say what they really want. But it cracks me up. Jerry from Rhode Island says, I love those things. Him and I go back and forth on it. And I think it's we crack each other up with some of the stuff that we end up finding. But it's just, they're the best. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, it's not right. Listen, we need to relax, have fun, just enjoy life. This is not, it's not racist talk or anything. It could have been a whole lot freaking worse. All it is people just having fun. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that was actually played. It's jokes. Comedians can't even say what they really want anymore because if they do, then they're like, oh, we need to cancel him because he said this or he said that. So just relax, folks. It's all fun and games. That's what it is.
Just lighten up. This is Beav's world. As Angel and I have discussed many times, we did the other night with Kathy. I have fun. I grew up watching Buddy Hackett and Bob Hope. One of the best jokes ever that Bob Hope told. He tells people he was Jewish Arab. He wants to kill himself. So there you go. So there you go. Angel's laughing. But I almost put it back out. it's and Bob Hope said that in like 1978.
Right.
And Bob Hope used to go visit all the troops. He was like the Google ambassador for the United States. You can't laugh at yourself. We miss the Johnny Carsons of the world.
Yeah.
And having fun. That's why I love Dave Chappelle. Because Dave Chappelle makes fun of himself. He makes fun of everybody.
Yeah, he makes fun of everybody.
And with the Saturday Night Live show the other night, I grew up watching a lot of those guys. Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor. I'm a white guy from Boston. Those are my three favorite comics. Because I grew up watching those guys. And Dave Chappelle is like, just tells it like it is. He's good. And that always will translate to what if you just say what you think, and if people don't like it, they don't listen to it. Back in the day, Bill Cosby before his problems all happened. But no, it's just it's we need to lighten up and have more fun. And at the expense of Pat Mahomes, why not?
Exactly. Even better.
There you go. There you go.
People got to relax a little bit. I mean, everybody has problems. People have issues. There are things that happen. Do we have good streaks? Of course we do. Do we have streaks that suck? Of course we do. But the good thing is that we laugh with each other. And a lot of times, listen, I've had friends, we've laughed at each other because we've said something dumb or we've done something silly. And what are you going to do? I mean, other than you dare yourself to do something. And then once you find out it was okay, then you bust out in laughter because like, do you know how dumb you were? Like, yeah, I just figured that out after I did something dumb. So yeah, there's no way. By the way, Penguin, he says, this is why you're trying to work so hard, man. That's it. You can't work hard. You got to have fun in life. And I keep saying it all the time on this network. The day that this stops being fun is the day it's over. That's it. So you got to, we're not going to be able to please everyone. Everybody has their own different type of show. Everybody.
Gotcha.
And Dad, who just recently came on, is the same way. He has a lifestyle show. So not everyone is going to like, whether it's myself or Beav or Pete or Duncan Dad or whomever. But the thing is, we all have fun because that's what it's all about. If we were all about X's and O's, you guys would tune out even faster because the whole thing would end up being like, oh my God, do they talk about anything else? So we like to mix it up and throw everything under sun in there. That's just the way we like to operate. Penguin AZ says, by the way, don't you know America wants to see you live? Dave Chappelle. Yep. Dave Chappelle is freaking. He is absolute
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Best.
Brilliant.
Best.
But with that,
hilarious. The best video he's ever done, by the way, was the first him playing a character, the first black president. Go watch that press conference on YouTube. It's the first Dave Chappelle, the first black president. Go watch it on YouTube. It's hilarious.
oh, I'm gonna have to watch.
He's got a press conference, and it's hilarious.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to watch that.
He points to the crowd. He goes, "Hey, the white honky woman with the bad hair over there," and she knows who she is, and she picks up and raises her hand. It's funny as hell. No, but everything Angel just said. One of the things I try to do is make everybody laugh and smile and have fun. And Kathy and I talked about that when she was on me the other night. That's what I do. There's enough bad shit in the world. I have my own bad shit. We all do. But this is entertainment. We're here to have fun. If you don't like me, too bad. If you do, great. What's we're here to do. There's something for everybody on this channel network because Angel's hard work and things. But good way to wrap it up, Angel. Let's get you out of here so you can go get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm going to try at least as much as possible. Don't forget, you guys can also check out Let's Chat with Kat and Pat. You talk about two people that actually put it all out there. Listen to that on SR.
Sure as hell ain't me and you. I'm kidding.
No, they have a good time. They tell it the way it is. Marshall Time Podcast breaks down the NBA. There's a lot of stuff that you guys can check out on the network. Of course, over on SR1029thegame.com. Please visit the website early and often because there's always things that are updated, things that change. You can go back and watch the show rewinds. So there's always something in there for everyone. So check out the latest along with USF stuff. Ladies lost the first match last night. No big deal. They will recoup and get it back together for the Sunday match. But it was a good test for him last night because he was the ranked number 5th lacrosse team in the nation, Florida Gators, who ended up winning by 7. And so they defensively, they had them last night. But Coach McCord, gracious enough for their time, and hopefully next week I will have an interview with her. I'll keep you guys posted. But with that being said, thanks to Beav, Penguin AZ, Joey, Mickey, you're welcome.
Everybody.
You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week.